Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm Mark, and today's video is, well, it's not what I planned to make originally. I started with this concept of an infant in a fleshy, organic, pram-like structure, building off of my previous piece called The Cradle, which, shameless plug, if you haven't seen, you can check it out after this video. It seemed like a natural continuation, right? But as I was working on it, something started feeling off. The more I developed it, the more it felt like I was, exploiting something. Like I was using this really primal human connection, the bond of a mother and her child, just for visual impact, without really thinking through what that meant. Now, maybe I was just overthinking it. It's not like I was making this for a client or I was trying to sell it. But it just kept nagging at me. Sometimes your gut just tells you when something doesn't feel right. You may not be able to articulate why, but it's to do with beliefs. And what's art if not beliefs? On screen, if you look very closely, you might miss it. But if you look very closely, you might be able to spot the exact moment the sketch died. Yeah, so that happened. When I get stuck like this, frustrated, second-guessing myself, I have a few tools I can fall back on. Today, I decided to try what many artists call stream of consciousness. Grossly oversimplifying it, it's essentially trying to not plan anything and just let the pencil or pen or stylus guide you. No predetermined concept, no symbolic meanings, no worries about whether it's worthy enough. Your hand, eye, and artistic intuition do the thinking instead of your brain. Many use this to get over artist blocks, me included. I also use this when I need unguided practice, sometimes just an alternative to what many people call automatic drawing. And also definitely when I've just scrapped something, I need to reset my headspace, as you just saw. So, for this new drawing, let's see what emerges. I realized I had never really drawn children, so I wanted to adapt my earlier sketches, gesture and position, but wanted to make it decidedly inhuman. I started with the basic proportions. I want a very asymmetrical anatomy, an elongated, almost absurdly curved spine, legs that barely look like legs, non-existent arms, and the head is adorned with, I guess they're horns? I'm not entirely sure. What was interesting was that while I was playing around with the general silhouette and primary shapes, I chanced across a golden ratio or golden spiral composition created by, the hands, part of the leg and whatever that is at the top. Let's just call it a throne. It's organic with multiple different textures, all arranged to support this spiral. Yeah, I like this much better. This should be fun. You can see me tackling the slightly more smaller details. But to pivot for a bit, my original plans were pretty grand. The infant and the pram, I wanted to bring it a similar level of polish as the cradle. No, to be honest, I wanted it to be even more polished. And one interesting thing I had planned was to use ZBrush to sculpt it and check if I could incorporate it into my workflow. For those interested, here's a very small sneak peek of my first hour with ZBrush. Well, that obviously did not work out because of the moral dilemma, I guess we can call it. Actually, on that note, what do you think? Have you ever had to scrap any work because it just did not feel right, did not sit right with your beliefs maybe? I'm curious if this was a legitimate concern or just me getting too much into my own head. If you like, let me know in the comments. Back to the drawing. I've defined a light source. It's the top left and slightly from the front. So while I render out the details, I am keeping that in mind. Another very important thing I'm being conscious of is the big, medium, small concept. The large masses have to be balanced with a few medium forms as well as smaller details. The hierarchy keeps the composition readable even with this mess of organic elements. You know what? This stream of consciousness approach gave me something that feels more honest. It almost feels like I was forcing the infant concept from earlier, maybe because I wanted to make the Cradle a 2-part series. Sometimes overthinking just kills the instinctive decisions that actually work better. Not to toot my own horn, but I think I'm pretty good at anatomy. However, I still messed up the legs quite a bit. So I just get rid of them and redo them from scratch. That also helps me relook at the design and see if I can improve it somehow. Just because I'm letting my pen guide me does not mean I can stop thinking. I need to keep the fundamentals in mind, and I need to reevaluate my design every so often. final stages, what I would usually call rendering, I'm focusing on edge control and treatability, as well as stuff that I don't think works. For example, the child's figure against whatever that is behind it. In fact, interestingly, I bring in a texture from Pinterest here, and it looks very off initially because it's a photo, whereas mine's a drawing. But after I reconcile it, it becomes pretty good, I think. I did not want to do too many local values here, but I felt like the feathers and the cloth or sheets or scales, whatever those are, they needed some manner of differentiation from the background, and so I made them slightly lighter in value. Some more finishing touches, and there we have it, The Child of Precepts, which honestly I'm not entirely sure why that title came to mind. That something about this reminds me of those biblically accurate angel descriptions. I'm obviously not going religious with it, just the sense of something that exists outside normal understanding. This was definitely not the video I planned to make, but if you have made it this far, first of all, thank you very much for sticking through my creative process, my mess of a creative process. Feel free to share your experiences below. I'd love to hear how other artists handle these kinds of creative roadblocks. And as always, if you want to see more of this kind of process work, hit the subscribe button. Thank you very much for your time once again. I'll see you soon.